Somebody who worked with him for many years is David Lloyd. Bumble joins us now. Good afternoon, Bumble.
Yeah, what a sadness.
Oh,
very sad, Bumble. And you would have commentated with him. Did you? And also, you can tell us about that. And did you ever umpire him?
I didn't umpire Shane, but I worked with him. He was a fantastic mate. The story that you've just done about the children, that's him. He was a pure cricket bloke. We can talk about him as a rock and roll character. He was generous to a fault. He lived life to the full. He was Peter Pan. But when it came to cricket, he championed the game. And he championed young cricketers, especially spinners. I can understand it, and I can see what he did at Hampshire with the children, and this is what I do, this is how I bowl a spinner, let's see what you can do. And he wanted it to be fun. He wanted spin bowling to be fun and to smile at the opposition when they hit you for six and to have great fun around the game. But he was deadly serious about cricket and the way that it developed. I mean, there's so many of us. You mentioned Mark Butcher and people who've worked with him who will be devastated because Australians call it mateship, and he was top of the tree.
There is that kind of a man of contrast to an extent because there was that kind of slight larrikin feel about him with a bleached blonde hair, but at the core of it was this genius, a natural talent. But you don't get as good as he did just trying to get by on your God-given talent. He worked incredibly hard at his craft.
I've seen so many of them with that DNA. The larrikins, they're full on. We have one, Ian, both of them, exactly the same. Sleep is an inconvenience. Life is to be lived. And Shane Warne was in that category. He had this God-given talent and he was so grateful for it that he would always want to put it onto somebody else, to help someone else. This is how I do it. Let's see what you can do. Every young spinner, I've been in that commentary box throughout with him. In Australia for Channel 9 and here in the UK. Throughout that time, if there's any young spinner came into the game at whatever level, he would go and talk to him every time. I never knew him not go to a young leg spinner and to work with them, to give them a pat on the back, and almost to say, look, you're carrying the torch now. You're carrying the torch for leg spin. And he was an immense character. And talk about rock and roll. He knew everybody. You know, people say, "Oh, I've got his number here. I'll give him a ring, male or female." He had the lot. he knew everybody. I'm commentating. I don't know how long we've got, but
carry on.
I'm commentating and turn around. Commentary boxes are tiny, and the door opened and he walked in, and I'm looking forward. I'm looking at my monitor. I glance round and I see this kid. I thought, sure, I know him. I know this boy, and he come and stood behind me and watched what were going on. I thought, right, grand lad, he's keeping quiet and getting on with the job. Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
It's Ed Sheeran that's just walked in with Warney, and I've got a pair of specs on, and they were from a well-known company that do spectacles, and they've got a tint to them, and it's their range called Kylie Minogue range. And Warney looked at these. He said, "Them's Kylie Minogue glasses." I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'll ring her up." He rang her. Not only did he ring her, but she turned the telly on, sees me with these glasses on. She sent me a lovely note and a bottle of wine.
It's amazing, isn't it? And if a sportsman can be an artist, Shane was, wasn't he? The way he bowled, the flight. He had a unique flight, I think, sort of aimed towards leg stump, but it would die on the batsman or it would spin away. You couldn't tell if it was a straight on. He really was brilliant, wasn't he, as a bowler?
Well, there will be a technical term for this, lads, but I will call it fizz. When he let go of that ball, it used to fizz. You could hear it. You could hear the thing going through the air. With that many revs on it, and technically, if he's got revs on, the first thing it's going to do is swing in before it bounces, and then it's going to spin the other way. Now, you might know what's going to happen as a batsman 20 yards away. That's fine if you know what's going to happen, but you've got to deal with it. And he's the best I've ever seen. I mean, there's some great bowlers. Murley was up there, Muralitharan, who could make it fizz and spin and do this and that. But Warne, for me, is the best there's ever been.
Yeah.
Bumble, we really appreciate you joining us. Thanks very much.
It's fine, but bloody hell, that is bad news.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
right.
We totally agree. David Lloyd there, thanks to him. We'll continue playing tribute to Shane Warne. If you're just joining us, Shane has died aged 52 while on holiday in Thailand. Complete shock, I think, of course, for everybody. Whether you love cricket or not, I think he transcended the sport, really. So we'll continue playing tribute to Shane and your tributes as well. If you met Shane, if you're just a fan of his playing and never did that, if you've had a chance to spend some time with him, do tell us your story. Some really interesting stories emerging from people as they pay their tributes, and we'll continue to do that in the next hour of the show.